guys! Welcome to the devlog for patch 3 of update 119 of hot dogs, horseshoes, and hand grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure your speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, I had meant to film this devlog last week, but had a whole bunch of technical problems at the last minute. But thankfully, we are back on track, and one of the many things that I've been working on for our eventual 1.0 release is some tune-up and remastering of Wurstwurld, which is the scene I'm hanging around in here. I don't know how many of you have ever played this scene. It's one of the oldest in the game, and in so many ways predates me figuring out how to do a lot of things correctly in the game, from a performance standpoint, from a content authoring standpoint, and so there are a lot of problems. You probably even see on screen, we actually seem to have a little bit of like a shadow cascades. Ooh, yeah, that does not look good. We've got it up there. Oh. Yep, still working on that. But one of the big things that I worked on the past 2 weeks was a remaster of our friendly little Botwursts. We can see the old crusty model here, which I made, oh my gosh, just so long ago. I don't even know what I was doing with the texture here. This was probably one of those like, okay, I need to make a bot in an hour or so. I actually think I made this this body originally for the first take and hold prototype, and then reused it here. So I've given the old wiener a remaster here. You can see a number of things. I've tried to keep the proportions and the shape the same. Stefan built the models for them to my specifications. They've got procedurally placed hats. So they've got different versions of them. You can actually see that there's like accurate collision on them now, and I can actually grab the individual pieces. Aren't you just handsome? And the destruction on them is also more accurate physics-wise. So it was actually funny, when I went to remaster the model, there was originally supposed to be some possible loot that dropped out of these in the middle of the link. You can see if I blow up one of the old ones. Come on. There we go. You can see I sort of modeled them hollow, but I didn't understand back then how what are called convex physics hulls worked. And so there actually didn't end up being any space left inside, even though visually it looked like there would be. So I would try to put some loot or another object inside of them, and the moment all of those shards and loot spawned at once, they would basically blast apart as the physics objects tried to separate each other. But that is no longer the case. I remodeled the destruction on them, so it is actually hollow correctly, and the individual shards have, wow, that almost hit me in the head there, actually have accurate physics to them. So it's always fun coming back. Are we empty? Oh, wrong one. There we go. Delightful. I kept the completely overdone physics velocity of a few of the shard components. So yeah, it's, as I was saying, it's fun to come back many years later and just give something a little coat of paint, and I'm going to be doing that all across this scene. If you can see an object in this scene, I did not build its collision correctly in high performance. And back when I made this scene in, what was that, 2017 or something like that, it always confused me that there would be little parts of this scene where performance would just go really terribly, especially if you were moving and shooting a gun. And that's because absolutely everything here uses mesh colliders. The collision is just one-to-one with the geometry, which is not efficient at all, especially when you have guns of this complexity in your games. So even though a lot of it isn't visible, this has already been given a pretty significant physics performance pass, which is good because I'm going to be adding a whole bunch of extra stuff in, and I want to make sure the scene can run as clean and fast as possible. Wonderful. I also pulled out the Schofield here because there was just a request on the subreddit yesterday for someone pointed out quite rightly that the sights on this were just completely unusable, and now they are. I widened that V-notch so you can, in fact, actually line things up. Let's see how good they are. Oh. This would be funny if I couldn't hit anything with them after doing it. There we go. Yeah, sights are great now. can actually use them. Wonderful. So yeah. This is in the, as I mentioned before, this is in the category of I'm not going to be pushing any updates to this scene live until the 1.0 update. I'm just going to be doing all of the back end sort of systemic changes beforehand. So yeah, there's a number of there's actually a whole bunch of API and bug fix stuff, a bunch of which I'll go over. One thing that has been fixed in this is that you can now actually affix scopes to weapons and turn them upside down and actually have them work. Before there was a weird issue where, especially if you stacked a red dot in front of a magnifier, there was some math being done wrong where basically if you turned it upside down, you saw through the scope, but you no longer saw the dot because it was actually using the projection from your other eye. That now works correctly. Also, huge change. This is, I have a request for anyone who is not running a super common headset. So if you're running like a Vive Pro, if you're running a Cosmos or a Pimax thing or a WMR headset, we have changed a bunch of the back end sort of camera projection code for night vision. And I have no idea if this will fix some of the weirdness that happens on other HMDs, but it is basically the only thing we could figure out to try. Wow, those get blurry when you use these out in a bright environment. So please give these a shot, and hopefully they will be less broken on some of those headsets. If not, then I'm truly out of ideas. So, anywho, let's jump out of VR because I've got a whole bunch of actual internal changes and bug fixes I want to talk about related to the game, because some of the stuff I would love your help testing. Yo! So, out of VR, what else is going on in this update? So, some big back-end code changes ended up happening, or rather code organization happened. I ran into a problem I'd actually run into about 1.5 years ago, which was this scary Unity bug where after adding a certain number of script classes to the game, the editor basically just starts spamming a very, very strange error that doesn't really point to anything obvious. When this happened to me last time, I ended up searching for it, trying to find a fix. There was no fix. I'm on an ancient version of Unity. I didn't know what to do. And so back then, what I literally did was just delete a bunch of script classes from the game until the error went away. Well, I ran into it as well, but in this case, didn't have anything to delete. I panicked for about a day and then realized that where the error was actually originating from was Unity's editor menu code at the top strip where you can click and add a component to something. Apparently, those little menus that are populated with elements cap at 999 elements, which I easily exceeded with the number of things in my core namespace. So to fix this problem, I essentially had to break a bunch of code into sub namespaces, purely so that the Unity editor code just places those things in a different list and I don't hit the 999 limits. So a bunch of stuff has been moved. I tried to keep my changes in this regard to things that weren't likely to be in mods to the best of my knowledge, because anything that is referencing or packing those scripts in, those references will be broken after this. But again, I don't think this should do things, because basically what I did is I namespaced a whole bunch of the siloed old game modes and things like that and bought myself a bunch of headroom. So that should hopefully fix things. I'm really sorry, Modderfolk, if anything I had to change with namespacing breaks your stuff. I did it as carefully as I could. I just removed some old junk scripts in the process, truly junk stuff. And then beyond that, I resorted, I added a bunch of metadata fields and added a bunch of, and went in and sorted and configured all of the SOSIG clothing to use these new metadata fields. Because one of the things that we've been working on the back end has been the SOSIG outfit editing process. And so that's everything from the data structure that defines what clothing are, what is an outfit, how does an outfit come together, all the way through how we're eventually going to allow you to edit those things in a tool and then save those things, have the game load those things and make those things shareable. And so to make that actually possible, I've had to do just like a lot of back end. I was how to put this. I was talking with someone the other day that the hell that I'm in right now is that for nearly 10 years I have worked on this project and have all my data structures with the idea that even with modders doing mod things, no one was ever gonna see a lot of the like data that and the way that I've organized it for a lot of this content. And now they are, and are gonna have to be able to have that organized enough to use. So I'm just having to go do tons of cleanup. It's awful. It's just I'll just be honest. It's real awful, but it needs to get done. So yeah, so that is in there. A couple other little little tweaks and bug fixes, or a couple laser sights that were missing zero distance options. And just like a whole bunch of just like miscellaneous fixes. I dug through everything in the Steam forum and the Discord that seemed had queued up in terms of little errors and glitches, and tried to fix everything I could. So I hope this. I know there's like no new exciting content for you folks, but this is just. I'm mainly focused on just finally like digging myself out of piles of technical debt, fixing as many things as humanly possible, and just doing all of the groundwork for our eventual 1.0 release, so that I can have some really, really cool and useful authoring tools for you folks. Honestly, tools that I wish that I had thought to make, or have someone help me make, like, 5-6 years ago, would have made authoring a bunch of content for the game easier. But you live, you learn. And then lastly, we have, of course, it has been a little bit since we've done a hot dog or not dog. And as you know, a number of the things I've done have fairly recently have been British. I've been on just a weird British food kick. Like, I'm finally gonna understand what's going on culinarily over there kind of kick. And realized that I jumped right to the HP sauce and had missed something really, really critical, which is the beans thing. If you've probably noticed, if you're on this side of the pond, been like, what's up with the whole beans on toast thing? And so I was just like at an international store the other day, and there was just Heinz's can of beans that is sold over there. I was like, all right, I'll give this a shot. So I have my hot dog prepped here, and I already heated them up, and I've just gotten myself a nice, coffee cup serving of beans here to try. They're in like a tomatoey sauce. I haven't tasted these at all, and truth be told, they didn't really smell like much when I was cooking them, so I'm expecting a sort of a fairly bland experience here. I'm not gonna lick my finger. I want my first taste of this to be in accompaniment with hot dog. So here we go. Hot dog or not dog, British beans. Oh, directly on a hot dog. Man, that is maybe the least appetizing looking. Oh, it's just dripping off there. Might be the least appetizing hot dog I've ever made. This is fantastic. Here we go. It's so sweet. It's very beany. I mean, I might be even more confused now. It's not that it's bad. It's just that it's almost nothing. If that makes sense. It's like it's inoffensive to the point of I don't even know if I can grade it. Like, it is neither a hot dog nor a not dog. Like, it's not that it doesn't work. It's more of a like, why would you expend the energy to eat it? Unless we're like in the middle of the Blitz and it's the only thing available to eat. You confuse me, England. Yeah, It's barely food. It's if you're the sort of picky eater who can basically only eat chicken nuggets and bologna sandwiches, I have found a new third food for you. Give it a shot. Anywho, that's enough of my nonsense for this week. Again, if, as I mentioned before, if you are running an unusual headset that has had issues with the night vision in the past, like aligning laterally or moving weird, try this new. This will just be on the experimental branch because I did enough back-end code changes. I want to make sure nothing exploded. But please jump over the experimental branch, see if this works, and yeah, I will see you all, folks, all next week. Peace.